Hold up. Wait a minute. Bruh. Did you hit the like button? Drop some rabbits in the chat. Let's go.
Hit that like. Hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat. Hit chat. Hit that like. Hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. If you want the tea, come see me. Rabbit hole is the place to be for real news, not fake news. Celebrity news, breaking news around the clock. Real talk, best on the block. I rock, I rock, I rock, I rock. Real talk, best on the block. I rock, I rock. Hit that like, hit that like. Welcome to the chat, let's chit chat, big chat. Hit that like, hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop some drop them, drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop them, drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. True crime is my specialty, exposing the industry. Unsolved mysteries, sticking to reality. Fair use commentary, talking about cults, trying to get results. Exploring cults, exploring, researching, debunking, investigating, being nosy, super nosy, being messy, being shady. Rabbit hole news, that's me, the chick with ADHD, unmedicated but quite educated. Hit that like, hit that like. Welcome to the chat, let's chit chat, hit chat. Hit that like, hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop some drop them, drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop them, drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Hit that like, hit that like. Let's go, let's go. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show.
And I'm muted. I'm here and I'm muted. Sorry about that. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Shout out to everybody in the chat. My goodness, y'all had to like run. The sitter was late. How dare the sitter be late? Listen, it was just way too much happening and going on. And for whatever reason, my mic doesn't want to cooperate. Sorry. I changed the time. I don't know how many times at this point. You know, the sitter was late. So I have to kind of, I go with the flow, y'all. I go with the flow. Okay. I try, but I go with the flow. Shout out to everybody in the chat, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, y'all, for being here. Thank you for hitting that like button. Thank you for your support. I hope everybody's having a great Thursday. Why does it feel like Friday? I don't know, man. You said Colitas is present. Shout out to the Discord, y'all. Shout out to the Discord. Oh my goodness, what is going on? That's all, man. That's all I can do. Thank you guys for telling me that, y'all. I just, you know, I got to do what I got to do. You know what I mean? I got to set up baby bunny, make sure that she's being taken care of, you know, and she's also kind of doing her thing. It does feel like a Saturday today. It's perfect because I took a nap and got so worried I missed the tea. No, you're fine. You're fine. Oh my goodness. Y'all are fine. I really appreciate it. And by the way, shout out to everybody that watches the replay. It's interesting because, you know, we have a lot of members and a lot of supporters that watch the replay show, and you have people that'll make a comment and they'll put a timestamp of like, you know, their reaction of that comment right at that moment. So I'm here for it. Apparently a lot of people had a lot of reactions to our commentary yesterday. We did cover a lot. So there's that. And we definitely have a lot to cover today. I hope you guys had a beautiful morning, afternoon. I'm out of coffee. So there's that. I had to get the McDonald's coffee. I don't like McDonald's coffee. Listen, I rather make my own, but I'm out of the little thing. I buy the little green Starbucks little, you know, ice. I'm an iced coffee drinker, right? I'm out of it. I ran out and I didn't have time to go to the store. So there's that. I haven't had my fix this morning, as bad as that sounds. Anyways, moving on, y'all. Moving on. Story of my life early this morning. We have so much to review. There's a lot of stuff happening right now with Savannah Guthrie and Nancy. So we're going to get into that a little bit till the end because I wanted to review Brian Enton's video. There's some stuff happening that I was like, oh my God, we had to talk about that. Savannah, you know, going back to work, which, I mean, I don't blame her. There's a lot of stuff happening there. And we have to talk about this, like local, everybody went live yesterday about the local restaurant, the DNA glove. I'm so confusional about that, but we'll talk about that. Okay. And then the other thing we have to talk about, there's a lot of topics. The news broke this morning that Britney Spears DUI arrests, which I thought was interesting. I'm like, okay, DUI arrest. All right, cool. That happened. We'll get into that. And then let's start with Ash Trevino. Her and her nunu went to jail. So apparently, Ash Trevino was officially booked. Y'all remember back in December when Ash, I think it was like Medicaid fraud, some kind of fraud arrests that happened. Now, again, this is kind of like the influencer for y'all that don't. I don't know how you all don't remember who Ash Trevino is, but she is the influencer that they call her the inmate hopper. Okay. She's famous. She's, we're about, I want to say maybe I'm a little bit older than her, maybe by 2 years. She's kind of this influencer that's like, didn't really grow up, is really trying to be of a certain age, dating younger. And I mean, younger, I mean, like robbing the cradle kind of men, typically men with like, history. And by her own words, she's always looking for a ditty, right? So her and her nunu were arrested or detained, I guess. But apparently they didn't update the mugshot. This person said, I'm kind of disappointed they used to say mugshot, but apparently she was detained just recently on the 4th. Okay, yesterday. She did make bail, and so there is that. Now, why, what happened exactly is yet to really hit the news. My understanding is that it might have to do with her prior arrests and charges. And I think she's going to have to go to court for that. I mean, Medicaid, it's really, let me look at this. It's actually Texas Human Health Service Commission, specifically on these benefits, y'all. SNAP, Medicaid benefits. So I don't know if she filed fraudulently. If you are a social media content creator and you're going to these federal buildings and you have a following like Ash does, why would you think that you wouldn't get caught up on, like, people investigate this? There's an actual investigation that happens when you lie on your benefits. I know this because when I worked in government, I've met a couple of investigators and they do take this to court. If you're found to be lying on those applications, be saying things, misrepresenting anything just to get benefits, girl, like you're going to get in trouble. You're going to get in trouble. So apparently she was held on a reportedly $25,000 bond. She did make bail. She would be released on an ankle monitor. And so that is what we know so far. I believe there was a violation, a release and bond violation. So after initially bonding out at a $15,000, reports in early 2025 indicated that she moved to the state of Texas, and that move revoked her bond. So she's been kind of like, I don't know, like a rolling stone, moving and moving. And then you had the March this month situation where she was detained. My thing is like, are you trying to like, you trying to stay in trouble or what? I don't know. So the people bonded her out, her fan base, which is just insane that anybody would do that. I don't know. He said, we used to get ridiculed like this. Now they get famous on TikTok. People aren't always who they say they are on social media, right? Like, just note that. And there's nothing wrong if you need help and benefits, but people will flex more on social media. And then when you like find out like the background, then it's like, oh girl, like you're not even, you really lied about this and that and the other. Yeah, there's a lot of that. And then, they tried to kind of backtrack. Yeah. I've seen it time and time again. It's always a lot of caps. So, it is what it is. Everybody's allowed their private life. Don't get me wrong. And if you need benefits, you apply for your benefits and you do what you have to do. But just know you will get caught up if you're lying on those applications. Okay. And it's all posted out there. And I don't get it. Like she's making money on TikTok. I mean, she makes enough money for her Prada, for her Gucci, she can't buy a bed for her daughters. Okay. So there's that. But she makes enough money to get her nails done, to fix, she can't make enough money to fix her face. I don't know why. But she makes enough money, right? And to me, it's like her daughters, I mean, they're literally teenage. They're not little girls, but they're teenage age. And she kind of is living, yeah, it's almost like she either hit her head and decided to regress in age. Like she went from like, all right, I hit my head at 25. Let me just, work back, downgrade on the way I date these men. And, these are like diaper wearing men. I hate to say it this way, but it's true. They're young kids, They're young. And men, shout out to my men followers, but it takes y'all a minute to really mature, right? And that's not making, there's actual science that says that women tend to mature faster than men. It does take men a little bit longer to mature on the emotional side. So I don't know. For me, I don't understand. Why are you regressing? Girl, move forward and upgrade and update. An iPhone, when you regress it back, it always tells you the cloud is going to update your phone. It's kind of like that. It's like, why? No. Anyways, let me stop. So, yeah, the inmate hopper, her and her nunu went to jail in March. And so there is that. Okay. Moving on to more relevant news. Okay. So this morning we found out. Now, of course, Sheriff Harvey and the TMZ gang are the first to report that Britney Spears was arrested in California for a DUI. All right. That is the news that is breaking right now. So initially I was waiting for more other like resources and sources to report it, but they're always the ones to have it first when it comes to anything Britney's doing well or bad or whatever it may be. I have a bone to pick with the way in which a lot of this is being reported, but that's just me. Britney Spears arrested in California for DUI. All right. So Britney was arrested in Ventura County. Now they're also reporting that she was taken to the hospital after this arrest, just so people are aware. That broke after that. This news broke. Apparently, this was a DUI from Wednesday night. Law enforcement tells TMZ. So the pop superstar was handcuffed by the California Highway Patrol, the CHP, at 9:30 p.m. last night, and she was booked by the sheriff's department around 3 a.m. She was released from jail around 6 a.m. today, according to the inmate record. Ay, ay, ay. So Britney was by herself when cops pulled her over in Westlake Village, not far from her home. She was taken to a hospital immediately. Okay, there's the hospital part. After she was pulled over, TMZ learned. Now, CHP officers transported her to there to draw her blood. According to multiple sources close to Brit, she did not sustain any injuries, and the hospital visit was purely to determine her blood alcohol level. Brit's run-in with the law comes just after she scored a legal victory, so she was granted a restraining order. And I'm sure, shout out to BJ, she's going to talk about this. She said she was going to do a video on this too. But she was granted a restraining order. I guess there was a man who was stalking her on social media. The toxic singer herself has run into legal troubles before. 2007, she faced a misdemeanor charge, possible jail sentence for an alleged hit and run with a parked car in Los Angeles. Okay. So, Britney, I don't think it's what's the word? It shouldn't be a surprise. We know that Britney Spears has had trouble before. My thing is like, it pays. It pays to be able to silence folks overall. Justin Timberlake, who I think it was 2 years ago. Now I remember this because Cuomo, Fredo was trying to excuse Justin Timberlake's behavior, right? Well, he sued to basically have this DUI video not be released, which I thought was interesting. Because we're willing to like blast, and I know it's so hard not to put these two together. I'm just saying, like, it's so hard not to say, like, if you're talking about Britney, the Justin situation always comes up. When she's writing a book, he's in there because he played a role in her life. So we're always going to have like a situation here. We do need a Fredo emoji. Yes, we do. I'll have to see where we're at with memberships. We do need a Fredo emoji. That's actually a really good idea. The Basement G says, even I can't save her. You talk about Trevino and her nunu. Thank you for the $2. I appreciate it. James, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. I'll have to see. I don't know how many members I need to get a new emoji. I haven't checked in a while, so I'll have to check. You said I immediately thought about, I'm telling you, a girl named Unlucky. I also thought about when I heard about her arrest, I thought about Justin and I said, wait a minute, ain't this this guy trying to like sue so that people don't look at the footage? Driving, excuse me, the drunk driving footage won't be, put this down. Justin Timberlake sues to block release of drunk driving arrest footage. Okay. So y'all remember it was 2024. We did talk about it. And I guess he's able to do that. I guess you're able to do that. He doesn't want the public to see it. He wants to make sure that the harm from public exposure, stigma, harassment, reputational injury, and the permanent loss of privacy is immediate and irreparable. That's why they're trying to sue. So hold up, wait a minute. We can watch footage of Britney Spears bald, have with was it an umbrella? I can't even remember. This was many years ago. We can watch all kinds of stuff that could all be out there, right? But this man is worried about the reputational harm on a DUI video. How do y'all feel about that? Let me know. Well, I thought any publicity, when you're at like a Justin Timberlake status. There is a double standard. I think I have, and please forgive me, I do have a bone to pick with when it comes to Justin for many reasons. Like, this guy has gotten away, in my opinion, with a lot of ish in the industry. Like, with the whole, I'll never, I know Janet Jackson doesn't like people talking about this anymore because, that's not necessarily, it's not what her brand is or anything, but it's really like the shift of like shaming a woman, okay, because of that Super Bowl incident and it's not, it happened to Britney, it happened to Justin, it happened to like a bunch of people, he didn't care. That's right. And he also put her in a music lyric. He didn't give a shit about Janet. So to me, it's like, wait a minute. So we're supposed to save you reputationally, but you have been doing shit to people here, especially women in the industry. Either, I can't get over it. I can't. I can't. And I know that he's just stalling. It's like, I'm trying to cover my image. Well, fuck, don't drive drunk. I mean, I could say the same about Britney, if she's driving drunk, she's being held accountable for it. Okay. But I bet you anything that somebody's going to release that video, right? Because they typically do. Someone's going to release that arrest footage, but this guy doesn't feel like he needs his footage released. Help me understand how this works. I can't stand him. Look, JT, I don't know. I'm not buying the wholesome shit, all this bullshit in between. He married, what's her name? Is it Jessica Biel? That's her name, right? Jessica Alba's the other girl. Jessica Biel, the Seven Heaven girl. I just, it's the audacity for me. Like, what are you trying to say? A lot of people have said stuff about JT. He's like a royal douchebag. We know this. I'm sorry. I just can't. I can't. Especially how he did Janet. And then he literally, I think I showed that video clip many years ago on a video where it was around the time that Janet released her documentary. And they talked about the nip situation, right? And this guy, he sang about it. He was on stage. What artist he was singing. There was a lyric that he did, something would happen with Janet Jackson. Like, he thought it was funny. He capitalized from it. I can't stand this guy. I can't. So it's like the double standards. And, the double standards don't just come from him. It comes from people who have supported him. He has a huge fan base, honestly. So Britney Spears arrested for DUI. I'm sure somebody's going to release, and it's probably going to be, mark my words, Sheriff Harvey probably already has the DUI footage, okay? And he's going to release it. But please notice how this guy is able to get in front of any kind of DUI arrest. Watch. Mark my word. I hate to put it out there, but it is what it is. Yeah, he still has and y'all, listen, I know nostalgia and Sync and Justin and Cry Me a River. I get it. Everybody's like so caught up on that. Okay. But at the end of the day, I can't with this guy. It's too many damn double standards. I want to talk a little bit about something before I run over to and talk about Nancy Guthrie, since we're on TMZ. And shout out to my mod, Vicky, who gave me the heads up about this situation. I really cannot. I don't know what to make of this situation here. I'm very, what's the word? Okay, let me say this. Reese, Reese. This young woman. I'm gonna give you guys a short version of this, and it really does upset me because I don't understand by ruling it this. Are people on the TikTok side going to pick up charges or not? TMZ dropped this news. Okay, Reese was a TikToker who was seeking community. And so there is this area on TikTok that messy talk, I think that's what they call it, messy talk. That these people kind of they're the equivalent of like they go real life, they really get in the business. It's not really content based, it's more of like conflict and different things that are happening. Well, Reese connected with some of these individuals. Reese decided to commit S on a TikTok live stream. And this was a video that I did, I want to say maybe 3 months ago. It is really, really upsetting because I haven't read this article yet. And I'm hoping that it doesn't just end here, but I don't know how it's going to happen or what they're going to do. This woman was not doing well with her mental health. She decides to commit S on TikTok, and these individuals were encouraging her to do it. Then after she dies, and all of this is publicly playing out, these individuals, these group of people, decide to make fun of that by mocking it. So she did die by S. Reports after bullying. She was severely bullied online. I'm talking about so like you watch these videos and the TikTok site and it's so cringe. The level, and these are adults. These are adults with children. These are professional adults. One of them is like a realtor. These are adults that are your everyday adults, but while they're on YouTube, or not YouTube, excuse me, TikTok, it's almost like they forget that shit, and then they're like, well, we gonna do the most, right? And she was struggling. She was struggling, and you could see it. You could see the buildup of it. So I did a video on this, I want to say back in November. Oh my God, like it's been that long. And it's just been crazy, all of this. One of the women's that was on that live stream when she committed S was also recently charged with hitting a pedestrian. That pedestrian died. While she was on live, she hits a pedestrian. She's charged with that as well. Okay. So, like I said, I don't know what are we thinking? What are we doing? If you're interested in watching that video, it's a great breakdown that I did. It's probably one that I really struggled doing, and I had to do some research because I didn't really understand. I was walking new to it, but it was talking to my mod Vicky, who kind of gave me the heads up of this. Let me see if I can pull it real quick so I can show you guys before we move on to Savannah Guthrie. Is it messy talk? Here it is. Oh, excuse me. A video that I did back in December, like before the end of the year, I want to say. This is it right here. Okay. And I called it, the thumbnail looks like that, messy talk, and basically said messy talk demonic. And I broke down just the different things that happened with this case. I'll make sure I put it in the description box so you guys can go watch it. Okay. Later on when you have time, I give you the biggest trigger warning because it is triggering. Anyways, so let me go real quick over here to Reese and this information. So apparently, TikToker Reese death was ruled as a suicide. TMZ has learned. The Alabama Department of Forensic Science has determined that the 27-year-old died by hanging herself from a ceiling fan. She did that. And the people that mocked her death decided to hang a action figure with the string to a ceiling fan. And they were replaying it and laughing again. And she was found after a welfare check. She did this all on live. He had a documented history of depression and past S attempts. The department said in an official investigation report. TMZ previously confirmed with the Montgomery Police Department they were investigating her December 12th death. She reportedly died while on a TikTok live stream after being constantly bullied online, according to several social media posts from concerned users. TMZ has reached out to the Montgomery Police Department and her family for information on the reports. So far, no word back. Reese, I don't know if they got to charge people. I don't know if they're going to leave it like that or if they're going to. There needs to be there needs to be some charges, because if you guys would have seen what that live stream was like, it was insane. They were laughing, they were mocking her, they were encouraging her to do it. If you're encouraging somebody to do this, you need to be held accountable. Reese had previously spoken out about her mental struggles, and she was studying law at the Louisiana Institute of Technology and was involved in her local ministry. She was also vocal about her love for her service dog. Her service dog was whimpering in that live stream, frequently posting with him. She was 27 years old, y'all. Anyways, I just thank you, Vicky, for the update on that. I didn't have time to put it all in the thumbnail and everything, but I wanted to give you guys an update on this. Okay. All right, so we have to move on. There is some information breaking as we speak about. We're going to go to Savannah Guthrie real quick. I did see that people are talking about the possibility of her. She visited the Today Studios while the search is continuing with her mother. So we're going to go right into this article. Okay. And Savannah Guthrie visits Today Studio as she plans to eventually return to the show. While she plans to return to the show on air, she remains focused right now on supporting her family and working to help bring Nancy home, a spokesperson for the show said. Today, co-anchor Savannah Guthrie visited the NBC Morning News show set on Thursday as the investigation into her 84-year-old mother disappearance stretched into the 32nd day. It's really it's 32 days since her disappearance. Savannah Guthrie stopped by the studio this morning to be with and thanked her Today colleagues. A Today spokesperson said in a statement, while she plans to return to the show on air, she remains focused right now supporting her family and working to bring her mom, Nancy, home. Okay, so she hugged her coworkers. Who Guthrie was reported missing February 1st after she didn't show up to a friend's house in Tucson, Arizona to watch an online church service. She was last seen the previous night around 9:45 after having dinner at her daughter's Annie Guthrie's home. Authorities have described the case as being possibly kidnapping or abduction, but clues have been scarce. Savannah Guthrie visit was not televised. She has not appeared on the morning show since her mother's disappearance, having spent most of her time with her family in the Tucson area. Okay, so the Today co-anchor Jenna fought back tears on air as she addressed Savannah's visit in the Today show. Wow. She said that she has the intentions to return to the show, even though it feels like the hardest thing to do. It's also her home and where she feels so loved. Listen. This is hard. And I don't criticize this woman for trying to return back to work to what seems like a normal place for her. I don't at all. I think that is that's normal. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I just don't know how she does it, you know? Hey Sylvia, how are you, love? Everybody else, thank you guys for coming. Sorry, forgot to shout everybody out, but I think this is normal. You know, it's sometimes going back to work is therapeutic. For me, that's what it would be after something like this, you know? So I love that if she's got people that support her and she feels like this is something she could do. Yeah. I think the only side to this too is that I could never look at some of these individuals like Ashley, Harvey, all these people. I could never look at these individuals the same way. No way. It would be horrible. That's right. At some point, you have to return to your life, especially after something tragic. Absolutely. She said that she had the intention to return to work. And so then we're not out of the storm, but there's light somewhere, even in the midst of a storm. I think her coming here and just being able to be with us and for us to be able to hug her, I think it's a step. And that's amazing. Jones said she told Savannah Guthrie, whenever you're ready, we are here. That's great. I mean, These people look out for each other. They're a family. They're connected. Great. The Guthrie family is offering 1 million reward again for Nancy's recovery, and again, that reward was announced on the 24th. Now, we have these images from the FBI. We have different things that are happening. What is not sitting right with me, and I'm sure I'm not the only one out here who feels this way, is the simple fact that you have this reporting, right, that's happening about sheriff. Okay, I saw the video that Enton, some of it, not all of it. So here's a couple updates that we have. We have this whole glove situation, which we're going to talk about as well. But then Enton was talking about in his video from yesterday, which we'll watch because he does this really great interview with the same guy that appeared on Duty Ron. Enton talked about the fact that like there's the United Cajun Navy that's coming in there to try to help, and they have yet to be approved to help, and they don't want to be essentially stepping on anyone's toes as it pertains to the investigation. They really need some signing off of law enforcement, but there's no signing. There is no signing of anything, okay? So we're going to get into that, but then we have the whole situation with the DNA and the glove, okay? So the DNA from a recovered glove belongs to a restaurant worker, not the kidnapper, marking another setback in the month-long Nancy Guthrie investigation. Savannah Guthrie's NBC Today co-anchor visited the studio to thank her colleagues, okay? So there's that. Authorities believe that the 84-year-old grandmother remains alive and are pursuing thousands of leads, though the ski masked man captured on her doorbell camera is still unidentified. So, in another setback for the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping probe, the DNA on the glove found in the weeks of the investigation turned out to belong to a restaurant worker, and it's unrelated to her mass abductor. The news came as Savannah, one of Nancy's daughters, and again the co-anchor of the NBC Today show, on Thursday made an off-screen visit to the New York studios to thank her coworkers for their support since her mother's kidnapping on February 1st. The Today Show said Guthrie plans to return to the air at some point, but the show said in a statement remains focused right now on supporting her family and working to helping bring Nancy home. So we still don't know when she plans to return, but she plans to return, okay? As the investigation enters its second month, Piedmont County Sheriff Chris Nano, speaking to NBC, said, "There's so much that everyone wants to know, but I would be very neglectful, irresponsible as police law enforcement leader to share that with everyone." Thousands of additional tips have poured into Piedmont County Sheriff's Department since last week when Savannah Guthrie announced a 1 million reward for information. Officials insisted that the investigation is still in full force and they have some solid clues. The sheriff's department announced that it is now has a dedicated team from its homicide unit working with the FBI on the case. Now, Brian Enton did talk about this, and I kind of agree with him. We're going to go to Brian Enton here in a minute. The scale back. You don't want, in my experience, when I have seen people working, and this is, you don't want too many cooks in the kitchen, because it could really complicate things. So scaling back makes sense. I don't think that this is about, oh, they're scaling back because they don't need too many people. I mean, if they have thousands of leads, I'm sure that they're using all the resources, but I would prefer less people that are more, what's the word, experience than having a bunch of people all working the same case. That doesn't make sense. It almost feels like people are doing the most, okay? So officials insisted that the investigation is still in full force effect. Hold up. And they have some solid clues. The sheriff's department announced that it is now a dedicated team working with the FBI unit. Okay, so there have been no DNA matches with known criminals in the federal database. The ransom note again came February 1st, but we have yet to hear about that connection. Now you have at least reports that are saying that it's very likely that the backpack that he had, he probably got it from like a secondhand store, not necessarily Walmart. So there is just so many moving parts to this. I think people need to understand as things are being reported. Now, let me move on to here. Let me look at the chat real quick. Sorry about that. Thank you so much for the 199. Yes, it's Elry here. I changed my name. I heard. Thank you. I think you let us know yesterday, Elry, that you changed your name. Thank you so much for the 199. Thank you. Appreciate it. Again, James, thank you for the gifted memberships. Chico, shout out to Chico. Mod member 37 months. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Scientifically proven. Being a hater takes a few years off your life span. Yes. Hit the like button, hype, do all those things that support the channel. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Shout out to Chico again, 37 months. Thank you for supporting the channel. Okay. Ooh-wee. I told you I have no coffee. I'm out of coffee. I got to get coffee after this. I got to do what I got to do. What was I going to say? Let's get into this report. You said Justin is nothing special. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Let's get into this report right here that on the Cajun Navy. And this is a shorter version, but we're going to go to Brian Enton as well because that interview, y'all, that interview is very interesting. Let's go.
About Nancy Guthrie. We still do not have any idea what happened to her or who could be behind her disappearance, but we do know that groups have gone out to Arizona with every intention of finding her. Joining us now is senior national correspondent Brian Enton. He's at the scene with an exclusive update on those efforts. Brian.
Yeah, Katie. Well, you've been talking to the United Cajun Navy for the last week or so, and they have been on the ground here waiting to call in the troops. They want to organize. I mean, they literally have up to 24 canines on standby, canines that can, sniff out human remains, former law enforcement that volunteer, ready to come, they say. Drones, aerial support. We got our hands on, Katie, a 41-page basic plan that they submitted to an operational plan that they submitted. This is it right here. I mean, very, very detailed.
Wow.
Everything that they could bring to the table that they submitted to.
So here's this team, experienced team. Please note that. I believe that they were the ones that helped with, was it Katrina? One of the hurricanes and everything. So here is their experience. This is not like they don't know what they're doing. This isn't like, it's, how people kind of throw shit out there. Oh, it's a bunch of YouTubers. No, these are people with experience that I have seen help as well in other cases. Why? And they come up with a plan to offer to law enforcement. Yeah, like they're a seriously competent group. Thank you. I know Katrina was one of them. So Katrina and Harvey. Thank you, Vicky. It's a good resource. Are they one of the concerns that I have is that what harm is it going to do for them to search if they don't have anybody out there searching? Law enforcement isn't searching out in the desert for her, are they? Or is it a situation where we already know where she's at? Kind of like how they did Emmanuel Jarro, right? Y'all remember when the DA and Yosemite Sam, they got up there and said, well, we already know where they're at. You don't need to go out there and search. And everybody stopped searching. And I don't know how many months later since that press conference, we have yet to find this baby's body. So what are we doing here? What's happening? What's going on?
To the Pima County Sheriff saying, please let us help you. We don't want to do it without your permission, but we want to help you at this point. We want to help you search for Nancy. We'll go out into the desert. And they have gotten no response, they say. I spoke with the sergeant who is the president of the union with the sheriff's office, who doesn't really understand why the sheriff isn't responding to the United Cajun Navy. Listen to what he told me, Katie.
If the sheriff is uncomfortable with them, working the area close into the home, there's certainly other areas that perhaps they could be beneficial, and more bodies and more help is always better than less.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it would hurt.
No, I don't think so. And perhaps they could solve another crime. If the assets are here and they're willing to volunteer their time, I say why not use it?
Why do you think that they haven't gotten a response?
I think we addressed some of that in our previous conversation about priorities with Sheriff Nancy. He likes to control things, and I imagine that's some of that.
We don't got time.
And we reached out.
We don't have, y'all have time? Y'all have time for that? Y'all have time? Do we have time for that? You think it's because they have a suspect and they don't want to tell us and don't want them to waste resources? Isn't that what they said though? Like the thing is, and again, this is the different agency. They're not the same. But would it really hurt though? Like we're Jesus, like they're picking up random trash. I mean, we're over here testing gloves. Like there's like gloves everywhere, everywhere, y'all. Like, would it really hurt though? Would it really hurt if they're offering you? I get the you don't want to waste resources, but that's not a cost to the county. It's not a cost to Pima. It's not like they're volunteers. It's not like Pima is going to or Tucson is going to have to fork out money to pay the Cajun Navy. What's the issue? You said Pima has a glove problem? They must have a factory out there. We talked about this last time. What is the issue? If these are volunteers, it's not going to hurt if they go out in the desert and they look, right? That's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, let them search. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me hit play.
To the sheriff's office, Katie, to see why they hadn't responded to the United Cajun Navy. They sent us the same statement they sent us last night, just generally about private searchers, saying that they should not interfere with law enforcement and not go on private property, but didn't address specifically why they are not entertaining this 41-page operational plan. Katie?
Seems pretty bizarre to reject help when we don't have much to go on. Brian Enton, thank you so much for the update. And we'll come back to you when there's more.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and down.
I think so too. I think that they're, maybe they already have a suspect, but I do want to get into this interview. I didn't watch the whole thing, but we're going to watch the whole thing now and just kind of talk about it here. I mean, Brian Enton kind of gets into the Cajun Navy. He's like, I don't understand what's going on. And I'm kind of there with him too. Like, what is the issue, my friend? And if I was Savannah, I would probably feel the same way. But then at the same time, it's like, well, can you imagine? It's just, she's doing stuff on her end. Maybe she can hire. Well, I don't know if she can hire them. I think they have to be, they want to be called into being able to help. They don't want to step any toes. So that's what they're waiting for.
Told me. I just wanted to start asking you about the resources. We know that there's been like a shuffling of resources, but they've been kind of vague in their description. Do you know how many detectives are still working on the Nancy Guthrie case?
Yeah, from what I was told from other detectives, it's a 4-man group with a sergeant, so I think 5 total, if I remember correctly, that have been moved over to the FBI here in Tucson, and they'll be working out of the FBI office as kind of a task force with those agents to try and continue to work the case and work through, I assume, all the tips and whatever evidence is left. And then the remainder of the detectives that were kind of working the case ancillary, they've been tasked with just finishing up what they're doing and then going back to their regular duties.
Is that a good thing?
It's hard to say. Everybody wishes that we had some hot leads, that we're, the whole department's working, trying to run down to solve this quickly. So the fact that we're reducing the amount of manpower working it, it's hard to say what kind of sign that signals.
Is the task force a good sign? I mean, because I know there was we reported on issues between the sheriff and the FBI early on, but now that they're working on one task force, is that positive?
I hope so. I hope it's a more collaborative effort with the federal agency, helping us out. I think that's better if they're under the same roof, working together side by side. That's certainly better than one side working out of our area and then the FBI working out of their offices. So I hope that helps in some of the communication and collaboration.
Are the detectives still working on it experienced, do you know?
I don't know exactly who was sent over there. I hope so. We have experienced detectives that have a lot of homicide experience. They just weren't assigned to the homicide unit. So obviously everybody's preference would be to grab those guys and send them over to utilize their expertise, because expertise and experience is hands down the most important thing that a law enforcement officer has, and particularly in tough cases like this, that expertise is just priceless.
Yes.
And it came out today that, I don't know if you saw the glove 2.5 that was found 2.5 miles away is actually, the DNA came back to like a restaurant worker who has nothing to do with the case. I guess I wasn't really that surprised by that. These gloves, to me, there's been so many.
Yeah. It's given the proximity to the home, it was always kind of a long shot. I think last time we spoke, I said we were hoping that we would get lucky.
Like literally, there's just so many. He's like, they're everywhere. These gloves are everywhere. You said he looks like Anderson Cooper. He does kind of look like Anderson Cooper. He does. You said this case is going to be what? You think so, Mark? You really think so? I don't know. Piedmont County could definitely use some expertise. Yeah, I mean, definitely. Yeah, he does look like Anderson Cooper. You said that it was spicy. I didn't watch the whole thing. I only watched half of it, but I mean, even the intro was very interesting, I will say. Guys, make sure you guys are hitting the like button, please, and thinking, let me see where we're at. I got to make sure that because, we have to get this out here. Yeah, can we get to at least 220 likes, please, and thank you. Hit the like, hype, and do those things. Thanks, guys.
But I think everybody thought that it was quite a long shot that would be related to the case. So it's a dead end, but not certainly a dead end for the case. The investigators will keep grinding away.
How are the
Well, what brought them up to the gloves? That's the question. And why is a restaurant worker wearing bloody gloves afterward? Well, were they bloody? I don't think they were just the only Angie, were they bloody? Were they described that way? I thought they were just gloves. Bloody gloves is very specific. And whose blood was it?
deputies feeling overall? Because obviously you're the president, you have a good gauge on that.
Sure. Yeah, it's tough to say. The deputies, as I mentioned previously in our first interview, they weren't impacted as much. Some of them were assigned to the home on that security post. The detectives, I'm sure they have a big backlog of cases that they now have to tackle. They had a couple weeks where the Guthrie case was occupying pretty much all their time, working 18-hour days. So now they're kind of back to business as usual, but I'm sure they're on standby in the event that there's a big break in the case that they need to go back to the Guthrie case to work it. So
the sheriff has been kind of quiet overall after doing kind of a media blitz. What do you make of that? That's a good thing, or?
It's hard to say. I think some of that has to do with how his first two press conferences were received. He took a lot of heat, a lot of criticism for that. And I think...
I think, and you know what? I think he had to at this point. He's like, I got to sit this one out all the way out. But even with those two press conferences and then the interviews that he did after, none of it did very well. Absolutely. A restaurant worker would have gloves if they had a cut. It's safe handling. Yeah. So they have scaled back. I don't know if they scaled back the search as much as they've scaled back the staff, how many staff that they're using. But I don't think that they're searching. Okay, let me ask the question. They're not searching, right? They're just investigating leads. I feel like those are two different things. At least that's what I'm hearing. If you're investigating leads, you're doing that, right? But like searching would be like you have people out in the desert searching. I don't think that's what they're doing. So that's what I'm saying is like, if you've scaled back people, have the people that you have, but then these people who are volunteer group can then search and do what they have to do. Yeah, that's my understanding. I don't think that they've taken people out, but not, I don't know if they have been searching. That's the thing.
He just feels a little bit more comfortable with the more intimate one-on-one conversations with select media.
How has he been? I guess you haven't talked to him directly, but...
No, he and I have a very icy relationship.
Yeah, I know.
For sure. So it's hard to say. Yeah, I couldn't answer for you.
Did you get any heat for talking to us last time, or?
No, not yet. I imagine if that's going to happen, it'll happen probably after the media leaves and they can refocus from the Guthrie case to all of this.
I guess they're just...
So he had a bad, him and the sheriff don't see eye to eye. You know what I don't like is like, why are so many people, like there's people speaking out, right? Which is great. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, he said icy relationship for sure. He did say that, Misty. Yeah, no formal searches are going on. So if this is what's happening, and there's so many people that are speaking out, why is this sheriff, why was he put in that chair again? That's the question that I have. Why again? Do people just kind of come, you get complacent, you're used to what you have, and you would hate to have to redo things all over again? I don't know.
Distracted now by everything.
Yeah, it's taken up a lot of the bandwidth.
Let me show you. I wanted to show you this this operational plan that we got. Let me find it real quick. It's interesting because it's really in depth. And this is from the United Cajun Navy. And so they've been trying to get the sheriff's permission, which I think they could try to do it on their own, but they want to do it the right way to search, and haven't really got a response from what we're told. But I just wanted to see what you thought of this. I mean, they have 25 canines, thermal UAVs, track trail specific canines. And they're very clear that it would all be in collaboration with the sheriff, that the sheriff would be, in charge, that they wouldn't talk to the media without, no independent press releases, all media approved by PCSO, family sensitivity priority. I mean, they've done this other places before. And it's, like I said, it's really detailed. They go to all their insurance and it's in depth. It goes for 41 pages.
Yeah.
Are you surprised the sheriff isn't taking them up on this?
I am a little bit. There's certainly a lot of desert area that they could be useful, I think. It's just my opinion.
Me too.
It's ultimately his call, his decision. But we have a lot of desert area west of town that a lot of bad things happen out there. A lot of evidence gets disposed of. I think that could be helpful. We had a missing person's case. We had a young girl taken out of her home some years ago, and I think she was ultimately, if I remember correctly, found out off west end of Aver Valley, just a few hundred yards from the road. Her body, unfortunately, and so I feel like if the sheriff is uncomfortable with them, working the area close into the home, there's certainly other areas that perhaps they could be beneficial, and more bodies and more help is always better than less.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it would hurt.
No, I don't think so. And perhaps they could solve another crime. If the assets are here and they're willing to volunteer their time, I say, why not use it?
It does kind of make you wonder, right? Like when he says they could help solve another crime. How many people in Tucson, you could say a lot about Vegas too. In Tucson, there's probably a lot of people out there that are missing. They get lost in the desert and then their bodies are found later on or something. I'm pretty sure I've heard that this be a thing, right? So if they don't find Nancy, then they probably could help find somebody else. Just a general search, even though the goal is to find Nancy. But is it possible, that if they allow it, I mean, you just never know. Anything could happen.
Why do you think that they haven't gotten a response?
I think we addressed some of that in our previous conversation about priorities with Sheriff Nanos. He likes to control things, and I imagine that's some of that. Yeah.
Have you ever seen, has he pushed people away like that before, that have wanted to help with things from the outside? Or
I know that he has, as former Chief Deputy Castigar mentioned, that he has a pretty icy relationship with the FBI, and so he, from what I understand, has turned down some of their help in the past for other cases. So this could be related to that.
What do you think sort of big...
He said, what now? This could be related to that. I don't think the sheriff's going to like this interview, just like he didn't like the other interviews. Brian, you're going to get in trouble again. Brian, they're going to say, Brian, you're going to get in trouble again. Okay.
I mean, I know you're not working on the case specifically, but I mean, are you concerned it's getting cold? Someone described it as chilled to me. I mean, what's your sort of sense?
Sure. I think everybody kind of has that worry. Every case has a trajectory, and sometimes it's ups and downs. A lot of cases are ups and downs. This one seems like it's kind of on the downward trajectory. We're not working any hot leads. You don't see SWAT executing any more search warrants or anything. So I think right now we're kind of in the grind portion of the case, where the investigators, that task force that I discussed, they're probably just going through tips, any evidence, combing over what they have, seeing if there's anything that's missed so far, and just working what leads they have left. And you never know. We're just, any day we could get a call, someone deciding that they heard something and it's relevant to the case, that they want to call it in, a scorned girlfriend, something like that. Oftentimes those break tough cases. So we're hoping and praying we get something like that.
Were you hopeful that the $1 million reward would make a difference? Because that's a lot of money.
Yeah. I think strategically it was a mistake not to do that right away, as the Guthrie family was offering to do.
Okay. His opinion. All right. And the other side to that too could be that then you have a bunch of people, giving misinformation or just taking attention away from the actual investigation. The higher it goes, the bigger probability you have of like copycats and wasted resources.
I think it would have been more beneficial to take them up on that offer, because, as I mentioned before, a girlfriend is very unlikely to turn on her boyfriend for a $5,000 or $50,000, but for $1 million, it's quite an incentive to turn on somebody. And the thing about Tucson, and for people who don't live here, there's a little over 1 million residents, but Tucson's kind of a small town where there's 1 degree separation from almost everybody. You know, I have a friend who said many years ago that in Tucson, if I don't know you, I know someone who knows you. And that has proven pretty accurate over the years. And so I, and along with everybody else, are pretty optimistic that eventually someone's going to hear something and decide to cash in on that reward.
Mm.
Yeah, and there's been no evidence of this, but the sense that I've gotten just talking to people is there's this feeling that the suspect could be around here.
Yes.
Like that it's not someone from far away.
Yeah, we all believe that. We hope as well, but in our gut, we believe it's probably someone local. And you know, certain things like when we got that videotape from the FBI of him approaching the door, things like build and gait are pretty important. They're kind of a characteristic about people. I distinctly remember a case of an armed robbery I worked where the suspect was dressed very similar to the perpetrator of this case, sans
Wow.
the backpack. And as soon as I saw the video, I knew exactly who it was. And we ended up doing a search warrant, arresting him. He had the same clothes, he had the money still. So things like build and gait are important. So I would encourage people, anybody interested in this case that lives locally, watch that video of him approaching the door because that could be helpful. You could recognize it. I kind of know someone who walks like that with that kind of build. And
That's what everybody's been paying attention. Like the walking, the build, neck, no neck, mustache, brown eyes, eyelashes. I mean, things like that. I agree. Nothing's going to get solved if they don't work together and put their differences aside. I agree. But I think that this sheriff is kind of, at least what's been painted is that he just doesn't like he doesn't play nice in the sandbox. Yeah, he didn't like that the sheriff in that. Yeah, I mean, he seems to, I don't get it. But I mean, maybe this is just police stuff. This is how they are. I don't know.
just call it in, give us a tip, and we'll run it down.
Do you think he could have acted alone? Because I initially thought maybe there would be other people involved,
Sure.
but I would, with the $1 million, maybe that's why no one's calling. Maybe he really was just on his own.
Yeah. When you speak to enough bad guys over your career, you kind of get a sense of how they think. And the good thing about working alone when you're doing a crime, particularly something of this severity, is that the less people involved, the better for them sometimes, because there's less people to rat you out.
Have you worked a lot of burglaries and robberies over the years?
Yeah, I've worked in both in patrol and when I was in as a detective for a little stint, and so I got a decent taste for it. We have a lot of property crime in Pima County.
Because I heard two sort of different theories if it was like a burglary gone wrong, which I don't even know if it was, but some folks have thought, well, you would want to, if God forbid Nancy passed away or something, you'd want to get rid of that body because you'd be basically then getting rid of the evidence and you wouldn't want to be found. And then other people have told me, no, you wouldn't want to you would leave it there and just get away.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you, I mean, knowing locally the area, what's your sense?
If the $1 million, this is the thing, and I keep going back and forth in my mind about this, not publicly, but in my mind. If he's working by himself, then he did all this, right? All by himself, all of it. He got her out of her home. She was hurt. There's blood, I'm assuming, from whatever injury she sustained. Puts her in the car and then drives away. There's no markings on the floor, in the not the floor, but the dirt of a car driving away or driving the opposite direction. I mean, all of this is just crazy because it's like, are we saying that he did this all by himself? I can believe that he did this by himself solely because nobody has claimed the reward. But if he was working with people, somebody in there must be like, I want that reward. I'm going to throw his ass under him or her under the bus and get this reward. So it's one of those things where I'm like, I do wonder. I go back and forth on this. I don't know what to think, Kind of hard to believe that somebody would do all this by themselves, if that makes sense. You said, I keep trying to skip the commercial, but it's you. LOL. I'm tired. No worries. Well, I hope you get some rest. I just can't believe that they haven't found Nancy yet. I agree, podcast queen. And MJ says sheriffs are elected, so he cares about getting reelected. That's his issue. Well, here's the question that I have. Who would reelect him based on his performance in this case? Who's going to reelect him based on his performance in this case?
Anything's possible, but it would be very unlikely for a panicked suspect, I think, to have accidentally killed someone in the commission of a burglary and then decide that they're going to take the body with them.
Yeah.
It seems very unlikely. If they're going to try and cover their tracks, they would try to destroy the evidence at the scene. It's a high risk taking a body to figure out where you're going to put it. So it's possible, but my personal opinion is very unlikely.
Knowing that area, do you think it's a burglary?
No, I mean, everybody has their theory.
Yeah.
Every cop, just like every person who's familiar with this case, has a theory. As I mentioned on a different podcast, I'll leave my theory to myself.
Yeah.
I don't want to expose myself to any discipline or anything, so I'll just leave that to the investigators.
Understood. That's fair.
Thanks.
Anything else you think is important? How you know, I mean, you have such a pulse on the deputies and just sort of the sheriff's office overall.
Yeah. No, it's everybody's just kind of standing by, just kind of trying to gather themselves after this. It's been a whirlwind 3-4 weeks. So this is really the first kind of breath a lot of guys have taken, particularly on the CID side.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of gathering ourselves and trying to figure out where we are with this case going forward. And we're optimistic about the task force, and we're hoping that they can solve this thing.
Well, it kind of makes you wonder too with these officers, like this officer that's speaking out. Yeah, it's a good interview. I will say that. He actually interviewed with Duty Ron. That's where I first saw him. I forgot his name though. I don't want to call him Anderson Cooper because he looks like him, but he does have like this Anderson Cooper thing. It's like his double or something. It's interesting that Sheriff Harvey hasn't addressed the TMZ, has not received any more ransom emails, right? Are they ever going to say they were a hoax? It doesn't seem like there was any follow-up, right? Seems like they were just let on. And yet it made for interesting conversations. I'll say that. If you do a bad job in a high-profile case where the person is well off, well, hope does a regular what hope does a regular person have if you're not doing well in a case like this? I don't know, man. Said, I think he believes the cops department has something to do with it. You do? Okay. I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know enough to feel that, but.
And just lastly, one last thing, the task force, how do those work? So is it they all meet together every day, or do the Pima detectives still stay at the sheriff's office and the FBI?
Right. I think they're going to be based out of the Tucson office. I could be wrong, but
the Tucson FBI office? Or?
Correct.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but that's my understanding at this point.
So do you think the FBI is taking more control now?
No, we're maintaining primary on this case for whatever reason. But at least now we're working, I believe, at least under the same roof. So you always want to communicate in these.
For whatever reason, we're maintaining privacy, primary for whatever reason, but they're working under the same roof. Oh man, that must be like really interesting. Okay.
These cases with the other investigators, and I'm optimistic that move will break something open.
Do you think it's a mistake that the sheriff's office is still primary?
I think it would be beneficial if the FBI took lead, or if we gathered what expertise we had scattered throughout the department currently with homicide. I mean, we have fantastic detectives. You know, one of the homicides I'm thinking of currently has a long time in homicide and can recite a telephonic search warrant off the top of his head. I've never seen anything like it. He's really good. My preference personally would be either the FBI takes the lead, or we examine who has the expertise left in Pima County Sheriff's Department, gather them together, and let them work it.
That makes sense to me too. Yes, he throws professional shade. Okay. If y'all know what I mean by professional shade, it's kind of like he knows how to throw it without like looking like there's any animosity there. I like that. I think, professional shade is always accepted. Okay. Can't be removed for professional shade.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, thank you so much.
Of course.
Appreciate your time again.
I like it.
I appreciate Sergeant Cross for talking with me. He has interesting
Sergeant Cross, that's his name.
Insight just because he's been with the department for so long. Obviously, he has an adversarial relationship with the sheriff. But it'll be interesting to sort of see how things play out from here.
He said he has an adversarial relationship. I said, he's like, I mean, he didn't say anything bad. I mean, he just spoke his experience, right? But okay.
Hopefully, and I've told you guys this before, all it takes is one tip to come in and everything is just blown wide open, and we don't know what they know behind the scenes. And it seems like the sheriff is being more careful about what he says publicly. And he hasn't had a press conference in think it's been weeks now. Hasn't done a ton of interviews. Did an interview with NBC News a couple of days ago. But hopefully behind the scenes things will start cooking here, because you just think about Savannah Guthrie and her family and what they're going through, and really this whole community. I mean, it's such people here are so nice, and everybody I talk to is just like, what's going to happen? Like, why hasn't it been solved? It's now been 32 days. So hopefully if anyone has any information, they will call 1-800-CALL-FBI. That's the tip line. You never know, any little piece may help crack this, bring it all together. And you could really, really make a difference. And don't forget, there's a $1 million reward. So you could also walk away with $1 million if you have any information. So that's the latest from here in Tucson. Hopefully I'll get some more information. There's a couple things I'm working on that I'm going to look into tomorrow. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. And I'll keep you updated if anything happens here on YouTube or TikTok or whatever. And appreciate you guys for watching, for subscribing, for sort of being with me on this journey while I've been covering this. And I'll talk to you guys later.
Here's the thing, guys. Here's my question is, how long are they going to keep Brian Enton out there? Because shout out to Brian. I like Brian Enton. How long are they going to keep him out there? I mean, we're literally, day 32, right? Is that what they said? JLR is still out there, by the way. He has a lot to say. He says, I've helped more homeless people during my lives than what the city of Tucson is doing for them. Oh, this was what? Day 33. Quiet street on, right now on her street. Quiet on the street. So there's like no media here. That's what it looks like when there's no media there. Oh my God. But look at all those cones, because that's where everybody's been. This was Savannah at TMZ. Her mom remains missing. Hold up, let me look up a little bit more. This is my command center outside of Nancy Guthrie's home. 18,000 people are watching live on JLR investigates. Where's Nancy? Oh man. And then what is this? FBI in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood. Okay. There was a house that they were doing construction at. I think that's what they said. Oh, here it is. That's the house. This home is under construction at the end of Nancy Guthrie Street. Okay, FBI inside home now. Why do they go to the house where they're doing construction? Huh. That's interesting. These are the FBI agents, I guess. FBI task force going door to door in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood. Oh, let's see. Oh, they're just going to the neighborhood. Wow. So maybe they're just asking more questions. FBI is. There they are. Headed north on Camino Miraval towards Orange Grove, still in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood. Okay. So that was what was reported, but I do wonder how long he's going to be out there. Oh, no, man. You think it's solved, but no body? Oh, I don't know. It's just like, it is kind of dying down in terms of like media. You still have social media out there and everything, but some of them, I guess I have to ask you guys a question. Like, what do you guys think? Still nothing? Why? Why is it so hard to solve this? I don't get it. Whatever happened with the woman that approached JLR crying and shaking, said that what happened to that? Remember, did she go to the cops? There was a woman who, instead of going straight to law enforcement, they went to in front of Nancy Guthrie's house, and they were shaking and they were crying. They knew exactly what happened. I remember that. What happened there? Thoughts? Anybody? Do we know what happened? Did anything come out of that? Brian said he'd be out there possibly another month. Really? Mama Llama says that he'd probably be out there for another month. The other day. Because, you know, like some stories have, you know, I don't know. It's probably not a good idea to tell the people of Tucson that you've helped more homeless people while you've been there than the people of Tucson. That's not going to ever land very well. What do you guys think? Maybe I'm just like misspeaking or something. It's probably not a good idea to say something like that. DNA results in the glove found near, well, yeah, but they're not a match. They're not a match. Let me go here real quick.
The desperate search for Nancy Guthrie is now in its second month with still no sign of the missing 84-year-old. The mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie vanished from her Tucson home on February 1st. And despite no breaks in the case, Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos is still optimistic tonight. He says investigators are definitely closer to tracking down a suspect or suspects in Guthrie's disappearance. Investigators have been poring over mountains of evidence, more than 40,000 tips, and tens of thousands of hours of surveillance video. But so far, every promising lead has gone cold. Our own Brian Enton is live in Tucson. Brian, there were some confusing reports out today, back and forth, about that glove found.
You said, hold up, that was so shady. You said that his head grows by the day since he's been in Tucson. Oh my God.
About 2 miles from the house, and DNA results. Long story short, there's nothing there, right?
Yeah, it's sort of another DNA setback in this whole thing, Elizabeth. Remember, there was a big deal made when that glove was found 2.5 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's house, right on the side of a very, very busy road. It matched the description, according to the FBI, of the glove that the suspect was wearing in the surveillance video. Well, come to find out, the DNA results are now back, and the sheriff says the DNA on that glove connects back to a restaurant worker who works in this area who has absolutely no connection to the Nancy Guthrie case. So that is yet another dead end. I was always a little skeptical of so many of these gloves because it seems like these gloves are all over the place. And that one in particular was right on the side of the road. Would the suspect have really just thrown his glove right on the side of the road? Again, turns out that one is not connected to the case. Meanwhile, Elizabeth, we're learning there's a bit of a refocusing and reorganization of the resources on the case, and I have some specifics tonight. There are now 4 detectives and 1 sergeant who are part of an FBI task.
Wait. Who got fired? Ain't she the Homeland Security or secretary? Oh my, she got fired? What'd she do? I'll have to check. Anyways, let me stop.
Force. They're from the Pima County Sheriff's Office. They are now working with the FBI task force, and they are the ones now working the investigation. And I'm told they're working from the FBI Tucson office. This is different from before, when it was pretty much every detective in the sheriff's office working the case. I just spoke to a sergeant with the Pima County Sheriff's Office, who's also the union president, had to sort of talk about this refocusing. This is what he said.
Everybody wishes that we had some hot leads that we're, the whole department's working, trying to run down to solve this quickly. So the fact that we're reducing the amount of manpower working it, it's hard to say what kind of sign that signals.
Is the task force a good sign? I mean, because I know there was we were put on issues between the sheriff and the FBI early on, but now that they're working on one task force, is that positive?
I hope so. I hope it's a more collaborative effort with the federal agency.
So the hope, Elizabeth, is that it is indeed more collaborative. Back on the DNA front, remember they found DNA inside the house. The sheriff says they are still in the process of trying to test that, but remember it became complicated because it was mixed. So it seems like they're still trying to work through those issues right now. Elizabeth?
Yeah, that DNA, such high hopes that would mean something, but according to authorities, partial, as you said, mixed, not reliable, and not enough of it to run through CODIS. Brian Enton, reporting live from Tucson. Thank you so much.
Okay, Fredo, stop. Dang. So, and yet and still, nothing, no update. Again, she was at the let me see. Is this okay? Let's see what commentary they get on this.
Powerful morning this morning.
Yeah, Savannah has come back to her home here at 30 Rock and Studio 1A. We got to see her this morning, and in her perfect way, she talked to all of us, hugged every single person in this room, the crew.
And upstairs.
Yeah, she said that, you know, she has the intention to return to the show, even though it feels like the hardest thing to do. It's also her home and where she feels so loved, and she is beyond loved here. And so we're happy that she is home. I don't know when she's actually returning to the show, but she was here, and that felt so good to get to hug her.
So this is just happening, right? This just in. And so Jen and I haven't had a chance to talk about it amongst each other. But this is what I will share with you is when Savannah's here, you know, we've all been waiting for her. We've been wearing our pins, and everybody, I know I'm just like touching her and we're hugging and everybody wants to lay eyes on her. But it's interesting because I think I handle moments like this differently now, because I am in some ways, I'm not smiling, but I feel I'm proud of Savannah and I'm rooting for Savannah. And I know the strength that it would take to even just come in here and to be amongst all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so I see it as we're in this storm and we're not out of the storm, but there's a light somewhere, even in the midst of the storm. And I think her coming here and just being able to be with us and for us to be able to hug her, I think it's a step, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's ahead of us. We don't know what's ahead of us, but all I know is it is a step. And for me, anytime you can take a step, I celebrate that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked at her and I hugged her and I'm like, you know what? You are here and we love you.
Yeah.
Everyone loves you. And whenever you're ready, we are here.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I feel encouraged this morning that we are one step closer just to getting a step to wherever it's going to be, that she was able to actually feel us. And I think even for her to see us in our pins, and I can't imagine, you know.
She said the yellow flowers and the pins, all of your prayers, she feels them. She depends on them. She said, and she has said this to me before during all of this, but her pastor said, and I think she wouldn't mind me sharing this, he said, you know, God is our last resort. And she said, no, God has always been my first resort. So thank you all for your continued support and your love for all of us, but particularly for Savannah and for Annie and for Cam and for their families, because she is, you know, one of the most precious things in our lives.
And she said it before, she feels your prayers and your well wishes and all of it. And I think we just keep it going.
Yeah.
We just keep loving her. We keep our arms around her, and we're going to get her back here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. You guys, thanks for watching.
I know. Come join us for all the fun.
Let me stop right here. Ooh. Jenna, don't make me side eye you. I like you. Oh my God. Well, listen, like, I think it was kind of nice that they, you know, that they went in there. I mean, like I said, it seems like a family kind of unit. Now, I have to tell you guys something else that's going on too. So you know how we just talked about Britney Spears, right? So again, TMZ Sheriff Harvey on the case said that Britney Spears' car had an unknown substance in it during the DUI arrest. Sources say. And then Sheriff Harvey also got a statement from the manager, Cade Hudson. That's interesting. Let me read y'all this statement that was made. This is an unfortunate incident that is completely inexcusable. Britney is going to take that right steps and comply with the law, and hopefully this can be the first step in a long overdue change that needs to occur in Britney's life. Are you her manager or are you her guardian? Hopefully she can get the help and support she needs during this difficult time. Her boys are going to be spending time with her. Her loved ones are going to come up with an overdue needed plan to set her up for success, for well-being. I don't like that. Is it just me? Is it the tone? I'm not. I don't like that. I don't like the tone. I'm not making this up. Hold up. Because TMZ's been dropping the exclusives every 5 minutes. This is what the statement of the manager. Some ain't right. I don't know. It's giving conservatorship. We gonna get her in the right steps. Can we also get Timberlake in the right steps? Oh, that's right. We don't want to embarrass him with the that footage, right? Okay. That's what I'm saying is that why does everybody act like they own her? It's the language. It's like, we're going to come up with a plan. Isn't that what y'all did? Like, I don't know how many years ago. Here we go again. Here comes I'm telling you, here we go again. It's giving that all over again. Yeah, it's like, aren't you the man? Why can't she give a statement herself? Or maybe not herself, but like, did she approve this statement or did you just put that out there? I know, right? Don't ruin JT's reputation, Rabbit. God forbid, because that's somebody you want to take home every day, right? Like, come on now. We've seen this movie before. Can we just play it forward? I cannot. Is it okay? Mind you, I'm not the only one that's like, see, look, my beautiful, wonderful, logical people here in the chat. Is this statement disturbing or not? Not the golden boy, right? I would say this is the most disturbing statement. I would expect Britney to comply with the law, right? Like I would expect her. Okay, I'd expect her, right, to do that. I don't think any of us are disputing that, but this right here is just not it. It's disturbing. It's a disturbing statement. See, I'm in my 40s and I have lack of autonomy or over decisions and behavior is shocking. There you go. It's the tone that's disturbing. It's giving, yeah. Uh-huh. Okay, well, I'm glad that I'm not the only one who feels that. I was like, I don't know how I feel about the statement, knowing Britney Spears' history of having to deal with these people trying to care for her. If Britney was not Britney and just a regular person, I mean, I just don't know if all this would be applied to her, if that makes sense. I don't know. Yeah, look at this. Vicky says disturbing because it came from TMZ, a place other than Perez that harassed her to a mental breakdown. Jeez. But here's the deal, Meow. I don't expect her to be normal. Here's the deal is like, I don't expect her to have any sense of normality. I think that she is somebody who, for the rest of her life, is going to be dealing with the repercussions of being in a situation that she was in for the entertainment of many young people, myself included, and others that ever watched her, right? You are literally seeing somebody who, for the rest of her life, is going to not be normal. And I've accepted that. And I don't necessarily agree, with her going on the, videos and dancing and the knives. And, yeah, there's a concern for her, right? I get that. But I've also accepted the fact that that is the side effect. That's what we get when you have people that grow up in this industry. And literally, this is what we're seeing. We're seeing what that chaos created. It's a side effect. It is literally, thank you, Vicky. It is the new normal. So if her behavior is offensive to me, I'm sorry. I can't even tell you that I'm offended by. I'm just like, girl, you had to perform while everybody made money off of your name. I respect and do your thing. Okay, as long as you're not, K'ing anybody, hurting yourself, there's nothing, right, that I feel like us putting something on her neck to keep her on check is going to do. She shouldn't have to go through that. And nobody should jump into the step of that just because somebody has money. This has been her normal. This is a normal for her. As much as I don't agree with whatever, she's out there dancing half naked. Okay. she was doing that when I was 13, right? They had her performing half naked, looking like a schoolgirl. And that was okay because it was under a specific environment. So for me, it's like I feel for her because how do you regulate? How do you regulate so many years of trauma? The people that were supposed to protect you and defend you all your life, like your parents, exploited you. Your sister is a trash ass person too. That, I mean, literally. How is that? How? Yeah, what is that? I don't even know how to like what would normal be for her? Right? Yes. Shout out to BJ. Is she in the chat? Sorry, I see everybody dropping her name. You guys go watch BJ's videos because she is, literally has been someone that has exposed the people around Britney Spears for many years. Yeah. So it's weird to me, like, oh my God, she's naked or she's this or she's that and she's dancing. And I'm like, yeah, she was doing that when she was performing every time. It was okay then because it's regulated and people are making money. Now she's over here doing it on Instagram and TikTok. Is she happy? Does that make her happy? Good. Do you? Who are you hurting? If your kids are on an app, you probably need to make sure they don't watch Britney Spears. Make sure you use the censorship that's out there for these apps as well. Make sure you got them on the right age so that they can use these apps. She was dancing this way when I was a kid too, and nobody did anything but made money off of her. Right? So I don't know. I don't know, but hey, that's just my thought on that. I don't know. Regression is real. Yeah. And nobody really talks about that. And then thank you for saying this. People think that, it really is. People do regress in life. Sometimes depending on the trauma and the number, absolutely. But sometimes the number that trauma does for you, the mental illness, it can really make you regress. Like there's stuff that you could, yeah, like you never really walk out of, right? Let me give you guys an example, and I know some of you guys will be like, I don't know about this example, but we did talk about this woman, Ash Trevino, right? What would make this woman, serious note, we can make fun and kiki about different things and whatnot, right? But on a serious note, what would make this woman regress to a certain degree? You could even make an argument about Ash, like what would make her think that behaviorally is this just her acting a part and completely disregarding her kids needs, their welfare, for her to get a social media high? Is that a thing? You could say the same thing about Ash too. What would make her go back to wanting to be in her teens, 20s, dating what is it about dating these very young guys that the lack of expectations? Is it that the older the men get, they maybe have expectations of a woman in a relationship or whatever it may be, that they might feel like, okay. But then again, she needs to get her help and needs to get her shit together. The same thing with Britney. I can agree that if something happened in this DUI situation, she was drinking and driving, she shouldn't have been doing that, right? Okay, hold her accountable to that. But my thing about this is also like when you have managers, and I really think that this manager, you're stepping the fine line of like, I'm managing her career versus telling people that you're about to have a meeting and we're going to get together and her boys and this has been a long, I'm like, you're saying too much. And I almost feel like you're doing it for your benefit to make her look a certain type of way. And then you give your statement to TMZ, get out of here. Get out of here. This is very, very set up-ish, You said then she drove, then she'd have to grow up her damn self, right? Right? Something like that. Maybe she was always like that, right? Something. I don't know. Some people stay stuck in trauma and some people decide to grow up. Very true. And some people like chemically can't remove themselves from that, right? Some people, because of the level of trauma that they've had in their life, which I think Britney Spears is one of them. I really, really think Britney Spears is one of them. They honestly don't know how to take a bigger step to the next phase, or whatever it may be. Like I said, her normal, what is that? What is that? What do you want from her? You were okay with her performing, half naked when a lot of us were younger. Now you have a problem with it. It's weird. It's weird. Anyways. Yeah. The song said it. And we all allowed it, Absolutely. Thank you for saying this. Not only regression, but becoming stunted at the age your trauma occurs. Same as the beliefs that a lot of teenage moms are stunted to the age that they had their first child. This is a good point because especially like for teen moms, it's a very good point that you point out. Y'all know, like, for women, our brain doesn't stop growing, I think, until the age of 22 or 23. Pile on, she was a mom at early 20s too, right? Pile on the trauma, pile on the fact that you don't have a safe environment around, like these people aren't here for you. Pile that on, right? All of that. Trauma, it's been said that trauma is like a fingerprint in your it's like a fingerprint. It's like a DNA print in your brain. That's what it is. And so then all of that, you have to figure out how to deal with that in order for you to grow. And a lot of teen moms, I mean, you have all of this and you have a baby. And by the way, having a baby is trauma in the body. Yes, I know it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Oh my God. Yeah, yeah. Birth. You look beautiful. Your feet are swollen. I'm sorry. I love my children, but I did not enjoy being pregnant. I'm just saying, you're beautiful. Your feet are swollen and you're walking around, and I felt like I had a whole house on me, literally. But let me explain something to you that we don't talk about. We want to, and this is a lot of it is cultural too. We want to talk about how beautiful pregnancy is and oh my God, the process. No, let me just say this, okay? It is miserable. And actually, can we just accept the fact that it does cause trauma to the body? Having a baby is traumatic on the body. It is. It fucks you up. It is, right? Hormonally, your brain, your chemicals, like, nobody wants to say that. Though, but it's the truth. It's the truth. And I remember for the long, when I had my kids, like, just feeling that way, that I was like, people are saying that this is supposed to be beautiful. Now, listen, I love my children and I love the fact that, I had them. Don't get me wrong, but it was trauma for me. It's like this last one was trauma for me. Like, I can't even tell you the half of it. It was trauma. People have to acknowledge how traumatic having children to the body is. So, yeah, so not only do you have your mental health trauma, you have your physical trauma to deal with, right? What happens afterwards? Really? Clearly, Shelly, I could not, because it was so hard on me. It really was. And I think that's what it is. And even, I mean, I had several miscarriages too. So there's that. So there was a lot of trauma that happened. But for me, I don't feel like, as much as I wanted to, I didn't really enjoy, because it was just, the changes are too much. I couldn't wait to be done, y'all. I really couldn't. So shout out to y'all. You said childbirth gave you a hip injury, a permanent hip injury? And then if you have a C-section, mind you, shout out to the C-section warriors. I did not, but people tear down there, okay? That's a very normal thing. They got to sew you up down there. I mean, it is traumatic. I dealt with some postpartum, not on baby bunny, but on my first one. And that was very hard. Okay. Very, very hard to deal with, to even come to terms with it. But yeah, it's a real thing. You say you get tore up from the floor. Yes, you do. You said you passed a kidney stone, and oh my goodness, the kidney stones. My dad had kidney stones, and I remember, oh, those are painful. I remember because y'all got to pee them out, the kidney stones. Thank God those things run in my family. Oh my God, let me knock on wood, because that's like the most horrible pain you could feel too, I heard. But yeah, childbirth is something else. Oh, what about the husband stitch? I'm like, can we stitch somebody's mouth? Imagine a kidney stone that's 8 pounds. Lord have mercy. There you go. There you go. You don't have kids. I made a decision not to have kids. Don't regret it. No. And shout out to the people. I respect people that have chosen not to have children, because why not? Like, do your thing, whatever makes you happy, right? Um, we all have a choice. That's how I see it. Oh my God, a root canal is also equivalent, I heard, to like child labor pain, but I said, I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I believe that. Yes, clearly, Shelly. I'm telling you, man, it hurts. But anyways, let me stop. Your niece was 11 pounds. Oh, now was she a C-section or natural? Oh my God, I cannot. You said I'm emo. Life is pain. Oh my gosh. My grandmother had 16 kids. My other grandmother had 8. I can't even imagine. Anyways, so I don't know what got us into that tangent, but that was a good conversation for us to have. Ultimately, I think, like I said, I agree. I think that, she became a mom at a very young age too. Brittany did. I think it's okay to say there's a lot of trauma. She didn't really have a safe place. She didn't have any safe people. Not so much a safe space, but safe people around her to really take care of, who had her best interests. Everybody saw a dollar sign. And so for me, it's like, I see Brittany. Yes, I get it. People have concerns and yada, yada, yada. And to me, it's like, well, why are we concerned now? But we weren't concerned when she was at an age where people could have actually supplied a really good intervention for her. Nobody wants to dig in on that, right? We want to talk about the effect. We're seeing all the side effects of her behavior, but we're not willing to talk about the fact, well, what about when people could have provided an intervention for her and didn't? Anyways, that's my thought on that. Well, guys, I really appreciate everybody. Y'all are talking about kids. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Y'all are amazing. Thank you. Shout out to everybody. Y'all, make sure you guys are hitting that like button. Shout out to the people that supported the stream today. Ooh, I am tired today, y'all. I really need my coffee. I am not feeling awake right now. I'm really tired, honestly. So I gotta go get some coffee. I feel like I'm trying not to yawn, but I feel very like I'm ready for bed. I will see you guys later on. Maybe we'll see. I was supposed to go live yesterday, but I had a headache. I was like, I didn't get enough sleep the night before, so I took it off. If there's breaking news today, we might go live. If not, I might just work on some pre-recorded. You said I think I'll skip lunch today. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you guys later. Bye. Hit the like, guys. Bye, guys.